Well, hey everybody, it's Romania Black, and we are back for episode 5 of TRIGUN STARGAZE, and I'm really excited because last week we got hints that it's going to be a Midvalley centered episode, and I love Midvalley so much! Oh, I love Midvalley, so I am super excited to see how this goes for him. Before we start though, I do have a couple comments I want to talk about from Patreon. That I want to get to. And one is from Twix Sticks. Actually, this is from YouTube, but it's been like the only YouTube comment in like 3 weeks. So, from Twix Sticks saying the OP not moving was a weird Crunchyroll error. The TV release in Japan had the same OP as episode 1. Fate Strange or Fake had unfinished frames in it as well on Crunchyroll the same time period, corrected now. So the theory is that Crunchyroll got the early versions of the show to start on the dub, but uploaded the wrong files or something. Either way, unintentional on Orange's part. That's the thing. We're going to talk about this here in the next comment, but I'm like, it's not Studio Orange's fault that I think this series is getting such poor marketing in the US and outside of Japan, because as the next comment is going to talk about, Japan's getting great marketing with it. It's going well in Japan. It's just outside of it. So with that being said, K. Geared Ingenudraga, I said that wrong, says it's true that Stargaze isn't big on YouTube or reaction content. It is not. There's like, other than ya boy Roshi, who has like 1 million followers, so of course it's getting a lot of views. Other than that, most of the other reactions that I just scrolling through YouTube have like 400, 500 views, maybe 1,000 if they get that. My last video had 69, and I was like, what can we do? I'm probably going to move my TRIGUN STARGAZE content to Patreon only after this episode, especially for the month of March, just because if you know algorithms, if it doesn't perform well on YouTube, it gets buried, which for my own sake, I'm like, I want to grow my channel, and I don't want my channel to get even further buried by low views. So I'm like, I don't know what else to do. So it might just be Patreon only, I think, at least for now. And then if people on YouTube wanted it bad enough, I guess they'll tell me in the comments. That'd be great, but in the comments of the other videos. But anyway, they said, I still see it in discussions and content on it in lots of places like Twitter. It trends on JP Twitter every week, Blue Sky, Tumblr, etc. A 3-year wait for a niche sequel to an already niche anime didn't do it any favors. I don't know. I don't feel like TRIGUN's niche. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like TRIGUN's in the zeitgeist and has been an influence for decades. I don't understand. And there's other series that have been like out of commission for a decade, and now they're getting like a sequel series and people are going crazy about it. So I don't know. I do think that I agree with them when they say in regards to marketing and care, I think it's mainly that Crunchyroll is less engaged than they used to be. They're actively trying to make their subtitles worse with the quality of the translation and the typesetting. They're using AI is what it is, allegedly, but that's my thoughts. They're not hiring people. Crunchyroll's become corporate, and they've lost what they used to be. If you live long enough, you to see yourself become the villain. That's where Crunchyroll is. Like they're just a corporate entity now. And I get it. There's more anime than ever, but rather than paying employees, I feel, my personal opinion, I don't know if this is fact or not. Don't quote me on this. It's all alleged, but in my opinion, I think that they just aren't hiring people to do the job, and they're relying on AI, and it's shit. So that's my thing. And they forgot to upload episodes on time and upload shows without any subtitles. Yeah. I think it's just laziness. I don't think it's like, oh, poor Crunchyroll. I'm like, no, they're a corporate entity making millions. They can hire people. They're just choosing to be greedy and not do it. Allegedly, in my opinion, not saying it's true or not. That's just my thoughts. Those are thoughts. They are not factual in any way, shape, or form. Just my personal opinion about the matter. But it's very upsetting and disappointing because TRIGUN's such a great IP and they're just treating it like crap, and it's annoying. But anyway, let's get on to some things that are more appropriate and nice. Sunspot said for episode 4, I am so curious about how the narrative thread of Knives being restored via the plants will go. I do not expect it to go well. I do not either. I think this works well into the concert with the elements of coercive and reproductive control presented back in Stampede with what Knives wanted to do to Vash and the other plants. Also, I'm wondering how Knives being forced to relive the memories of the other plants while in the process of being rebuilt will affect his state of mind. Don't feel like it's going to be a great thing. There's something I want to tie to with the manga with that, but we'll wait till the spoiler corner if I can remember to tie back. I'm going to try to remember to tie back to it. Also, the way the reconstruction of an identity is such a prominent theme so far, from Hoppard seeing Vash as the new Eric's, Hoppard wishing for and wanting to live a different life in practice, Vash being Eric's, and now through multiple episodes of slowly reclaiming the identity of Vash the Stampede, Knives being literally reconstructed. We'll have to wait and see how the figurative reconstruction of his identity and selfhood will go. I like that kind of duality where you have both Knives and Vash. They are literally being reconstructed and figuratively at the same time. And for Vash, it's reaffirming who he is and his mission and his purpose and everything. With Knives, is it going to make him go off the deep end instead? I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. But anyway, I'm really excited to see how this episode goes, but I think these are really good questions, and I'm going to keep Sunspot's comment up there for the future. So, yeah. Anyway, I am already sweating. Surprising no one. But we are going to get started here on Trigun Season 2, or Trigun Stampede. It's not even a Season 2. Trigun Stampede, Episode 5. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1. And let's do it to it. Well, oh my God. Oh my gosh, this episode. Oh, okay. Well, we have things to talk about. I do want to talk about things in the spoiler corner, obviously, and go back to that one comment. But we're just going to go ahead and get the screenshots pulled up because 3, 2, 1. Studio Orange did not come to play. No, they did not. Last episode, when we had Legato shoving everyone into the tankard, I had said in the discussion, I was like, well, I understand Studio Orange. We're, trying to cultivate for a more general audience and get the kids involved. And so, it's going to be gory, but in a way that's more family friendly. And then this episode happened, and I was like, which, here's the thing. It's an interesting choice. Let's just dive into this. 5 years ago, I liked the black feather roaming through the city, the black feather, because it kind of symbolizes Knives as like the black angel, like the dark angel, like the plant that's just like evil. We're definitely establishing that Knives is 100% evil, which he has to be for this story because he's the opposite of Vash. Him and Vash are polar opposites, so it has to be that case. But yes, this scene here. So we can establish this is 2 years before the events of Stampede, 2.5 years. I like that the 1Z is out of the jazz bar, a jazz end bar. I like that. It gives it kind of a little gritty feel. Also, everyone here dying in the venue, they all look wealthy. I was surprised to see both men and women like being hit in this episode, but the way I interpret Midvalley and his crew, at least in this adaptation, is that they all work for like a mafioso. They have the pinstripe suits in the band. They feel like it's kind of like when you read, there's a boys love BL yaoi called Twittering Birds Never Fly, and in that, like the Yakuza have their own doctor and stuff like that. I imagine this is like the Yakuza have their own mafia, their own band, right? Which it's a planet, not Japan, so it's not necessarily the Yakuza, but they have their own band. The mafiosa have their own band. They're in a crime syndicate, probably that's my headcanon, and they were hired to do a hit at this club and kill all the wealthy donors or patrons or whatever, which would check out. I like the fact that there was a band. I like that. Again, we're going to talk more in spoiler corners, but the fact that Knives was in the back and didn't get killed, and they're like, how is he still alive? Also, the fact of Knives having the cube and the whiskey glass and everything. Notice he doesn't really drink. Knives doesn't seem like somebody that would drink the whiskey because, again, Knives wouldn't want to drink anything that a human gave him because he's not about that. He's, kind of, fascist like that. But immediately, Midvalley, with his hearing, recognizes that something's up, gets the vibes that this guy's not to be messed with. I like that Knives kind of tilts his little hood of his little parka over to the side there. It's like a defense mechanism. He can still see you, but if he had to, it could help repel an attack or something like that. But the partners in the band are like, oh, well, we'll just get rid of him. And Midvalley's like, that's a terrible idea. And they're like, he knows our technique. And he's like, I just don't think it's a good idea. I also enjoy the fact that Knives is saying, I'm collecting knives. I want really sharp ones that I can use. It ties into him having the like Doc Ock knives coming out of him and everything. It works really well. It ties to the Gung Ho Gang being knives. Legato being a Swiss Army knife. But it works really well. And Midvalley is the only one that's not like enraged. He sensed something is really, really wrong. And these guys tried to go after Knives, and the like Wolverine coming out of his hand there, that was a bad idea. But I really liked like the bottom, yeah, he drops the glass. This is crazy. That is crazy. That is maximum level of gore. That is maximum level of gore right there. That is absolutely it. And then he just lands on the other side of him and just like rips them apart. That's horrifying. If you needed a reason why Midvalley is traumatized and absolutely scared of knives beyond all belief, that's it, because it was done like that. It was over. Like there was nothing. By the time the glass fell to the table, it was done. And Knives had killed them both. And did it in a way where he completely like severed their limbs from their body into tiny pieces, and Midvalley was untouched. Except by the blood of his friends and colleagues. That's crazy. I feel like in my mind it's intentional that if you notice, I feel like the series, again, we talked about it with Vash, of like Vash has to wait to a certain point before he defends himself. We talked about that last episode. I feel like they're making it to where Midvalley and the other characters, the gore is discreet, to maybe make it to where when they are redeemed by Vash, which we're going to talk about Legato in the spoiler corner. Is Legato going to be redeemed? We're going to talk about that in the spoiler corner. But I feel like they keep the gore with those characters to a minimum, because then when they are redeemed by Vash's Care Bear stare, it will be more acceptable to the audience that they are redeemed. This makes it to where with Knives, is Knives redeemable? Is he? In Vash's mind, he is. We know that in Vash's mind, he is. And it also paints a picture of how much harder it's going to be for Vash to get that redemption from Knives, because of we're seeing just how far gone Knives is. That he does it so easily. He kills people in such brutal ways so easily. It's going to make Vash's job that much harder. So, yeah. That's basically what we are seeing in this. But God, that is terrifying. That shot there, the piano. Also, notice the piano is untouched. The piano is untouched. Knives is a big fan of the piano. That piano, there's not a speck of blood on it. He made it all to where it was right there. That's crazy. And Midvalley was just left there in the center. Oh my God. But yeah, and Knives untouched. Not a speck of human blood on him. That is so crazy. That's so gory. Oh my God. Yeah. Before he could even like stop them, it was over. Probably the best sequence in this series yet, honestly. I'm here for gore with intention. If gore has purpose, I'm all about it. And here the gore has purpose. It is to showcase, like Knives is spotless. Not a speckle on him. Knives is pristine and pure because that's what he tries to represent for himself. I'm all about this idea of Midvalley. It frames Midvalley's fear. It frames Midvalley why he stays in line with Knives. It also frames Knives and Vash's very distinct differences. It also frames like Knives' attitude about Midvalley and about everything. I was like, for a hot second, I'm like, are they creating ships with Midvalley and Knives and Midvalley and Vash in this episode? I'm like, I was starting to move away from Legato and Midvalley, honestly, because even though in Maximum I ship them very hard, Legato and Midvalley. In this adaptation, without getting into spoilers, it feels like they're drifting away from that, especially when Legato was like, well, I didn't think he'd do anything anyway. So I'm like, okay, no, they are hardcore hitting the Knives and Legato ship. That ship is quite there. It's unrequited. Knives does not like Legato, but Legato is worshipping Knives, which is fun, which is interesting. Again, spoiler corner talks. But for a hot second, I was like, are they creating this like toxic ship between Knives and Midvalley. He's like, would you like to join my knife collection? He clearly values Midvalley because he knows Midvalley will fall in line. He doesn't feel sympathy for Midvalley. He doesn't value Midvalley. He just knows that Midvalley is easy to manipulate, and he's afraid of him, so he uses that fear as control. Because he's like, you could keep playing your beautiful music that you clearly like. And then, like that is not a look of empathy. That is not a look of sympathy, empathy, compassion. That is a cold, the only connection is that Knives is like, oh, I play music too, so I know why you value it. I get why you human would value such music. I value the piano. I understand what that is. But, you know, you can keep playing beautiful music, just work for me and do what I say. Knives is all about you if you'll do what he says. That's, And he's like, perform gigs just for me. Basically, he's like, you work for me now, you kill for me, you do what I say, and I'll spare your life. Get it? Oh my God, that's, that was like a 1 minute and 30-second scene that's been my favorite, like out of the whole series so far. And it makes it harder to justify Vash sparing Knives. Because Knives is so just gone. Like, just so far removed from helping any humans. Crazy talk. Crazy talk. So anyway, so we set up Midvalley versus Wolfwood. And we get that setup of him. So we see that all along Midvalley has been playing and doing his job of, like, going out and killing people left and right. He's like, that's just what I do. And now he's been given this job. I've killed and I've killed and I've killed. And you know Midvalley doesn't like it. He just is doing what he's been ordered to because he's afraid. And he's afraid and he doesn't want to not do what Knives wants him to because he's afraid he's going to get killed. I just do what I'm ordered to. And he's like, I've loved sound ever since a very young age. I also liked in the last episode that we kind of set up that Midvalley feels this kind of sense of nihilism where he just doesn't believe there's anything for him on this planet. He loves the sound of music, but he doesn't feel like there's any place for him in this world. And so that's kind of how he gets into the whole being part of the mafia and killing and everything else and getting involved with Knives. He wants to enjoy the beautiful music this world offers him, but he sees no other way to enjoy it except by doing what he's been tasked to do in this. And I loved his conversation with Wolfwood. I thought it was great. He's like, that used to be my thing. I used to keep count, but I can't tell you how many lives I've taken. And do you remember? And I love Wolfwood's like, I didn't keep track. He's like, we weren't taught math at the orphanage, so not real good with that. I also loved the musicality of Midvalley in this episode, where he was talking about Knives being like his orders are like sheet music with no fine directive. I want to look that up. Fine directive in music. What is music? It's it's an Italian term indicating the end of a composition is fine. Fine meaning like the finale, fine, the end. It's usually where to stop after repeating from the beginning. It marks a definitive finish, often a double bar line in the middle or end of a piece. So yeah, he's like, he doesn't have no end directive. I like that Midvalley is kind of tortured by this sense of, I keep getting told to kill over and over again, but it just has no end. There's no ending to it. There's no final directive. There's no purpose. I'm just kind of lost in this sea of death. And then he says there, an infinitely repeating da capo. What is da capo? I'm learning about music today. Okay, so yeah, da capo al fine is a repeat from the beginning to the end, or up to the word fine that should appear at the end of a passage. Da capo means from the head or from the beginning, an infinitely repeating beginning. Like you just keep killing over and over again with no stop. Kill, kill, repeat. Yeah. And I just like that Wolfwood's like, why are you here? Why are you here? What you doing? What'd you come out here for? What's the point? Let's get to it. He's like, don't tell me you came here for a therapy session. I mean, he's going to give it to him, but, you know, he's like, I didn't know. He's like, well, I didn't know you were here. I just came here to get Vash. And then I like that Wolfwood's like, are you going to see him? Or are you not going to kill him? Like, what's the point? And so he's like, no, Knives wants him. And I like that Wolfwood says, you know, I would love to just send him to you with a thank you note, like, thanks for taking him off my hands, but I can't do that. He's like, that'd be... Wolfwood is such a tsundere in this moment. He's like, that'd be more trouble than it's worth. I'm like, you need to shut up, sir. You know damn well what you're saying. I can't let you have him. My Wolfwood and Vash shipping goggles were locked in this episode. Although there was a tiny moment where I was like, Midvalley, you could be shipped with Vash too. You could join the harem. We'll talk about that later. But Wolfwood was just locked in. He's like, nah, I can't let you have him. After all I've done to work to get back to him. He's like, well, and Wolfwood just lets him go. I like that Wolfwood's like, just go. Like the little hand motion. He's like, just go right off somewhere. Shoo, 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 go away. Just go away. And they both acknowledge there's no place to go. And so this part here, where Midvalley's like Nicholas the Punisher, and he's like, I gave that name back to him, meaning the leader of the Eye of Michaelis. He's like, I'm Nicholas D. Wolfwood now. He's got the will of D, y'all. He's got the will of D, so I worry about Wolfwood because he's got the will of D, if you've read One Piece, but I was like, that's such a moment. That's such a moment for Wolfwood to be like, I'm Wolfwood now. I'm not the Punisher. I'm like, ah! Again, where is Livio? I'm waiting for Livio. Where is he in all of this? Where's he been? I'm curious because Livio is like, I'm like, where is he? Because he's not with Legato. I'm like, I hope they didn't write him out with this, because I know that since they changed staffs after Stampede, I'm like, because Livio was with Legato. I'm hoping they didn't write him out, but I really hope they didn't do that. But maybe they did. I don't know. He's like, are you Vash's sworn ally now? And Wolfwood says, I'm kind of uncomfortable being labeled his friend. You're probably even more uncomfortable being labeled as boyfriend because you are. Yeah. I guess you've changed and not just a name. And Wolfwood's like, yeah. What's it gonna be? And he's like, the ship's gonna be attacked soon. And Wolfwood's like, oh, well, hell, ain't nobody got time for that. We ain't got time for the ship to be attacked. No. He's like, well, this is annoying now. Now knives come for the ship. The whole arc is coming to take the plants. I'm glad we're calling it the arc. In Maximum in the manga, it's called the arc. So I'm glad that we're calling it that now. We're making it official. Maybe it was official beforehand. And Midvalley says now's the time to run. And Wolfwood's correct. Midvalley is having a lot of second thoughts about, you know, about all the killing he's done, about everything he's been through. And he's, you know, having like pseudo moments of repenting going on. But I also love the idea that when Wolfwood's like, where in the world would we even run to? And Midvalley's like, I don't want to spend even a second near that thing. And there went my ship. Yeah, Midvalley he loathes Knives so much, but he's terrified of him. There's no place to go to. And Wolfwood's like, all right, I guess we're going to have to battle. It is what it is. But here's the thing. Also, the euphemism of I had no plans to gig with you tonight, but it wouldn't be the worst thing. Gentlemen, go out to dinner first. Take him out to dinner before you have a gig with them. Ha! But I love the fact that both of them, they have changed. Like, Wolfwood not killing Midvalley, but aiming for his saxophone. Sir, if Vash could see Wolfwood and what he's doing, trying not to kill Midvalley, but to disarm him, he would be like the sponge. Wolfwood is the Squidward to Vash's SpongeBob, where he'd be like, oh, like Vash would be doing the SpongeBob where his eyes get all big, because he's like, oh, and Wolfwood would be like Squidward, like, no, it's not what you think, Vash. I love it. The battle's great. Also, I enjoy that Midvalley proves that he is listening to air temperature, to sound, like he's being smart about the way that he battles. He's like, which is going to be faster, your bullets or my sound? And Wolfwood's like, I'm not a scientist. I didn't even get out of high school at the orphanage, so we're not going to talk about it. But yeah, also he calls his Punisher a hunk of junk throughout most of it. You have Brad on the ship. Brad's doing upgrades on Vash's arms every 5 seconds. This looks like it's maybe a similar technology. Can Brad do an upgrade on the Punisher for you? That'd be pretty awesome. But yeah, Midvalley's attacks are crazy. The slicing through the air with sound. Also, Wolfwood is correct. He was basically focusing the attacks. And at first, Midvalley's like, well, you know, I just didn't want to hit Vash because I'm supposed to bring him back. And he's like, but but you could have hit and killed everybody else. You're just tired of killing. You're tired of doing what Knives is asking you to do. So that's why. Also, all of the moments with Midvalley and his beautiful hair and just playing the saxophone into the wind. Look, am I all on board the Care Bear stare technique of Vash getting Leonov / Emilio and Midvalley to help him take out Legato and Knives? Yes. Yes, please. I don't think Vash is going to be able to Care Bear stare Lindera. I don't think that's going to work. I think the only chance of that happening is if Knives gets super pissed that he was brought back in the manner that he was brought back in and tries to hurt Lindera. Then that might lead to such things. I think Knives is going to kill the doctor. I think Knives is going to kill the doctor when he gets back and sees how he's been brought back. I think that's going to happen. But I don't think he's going to try to hurt Lindera. I could be wrong. But yeah, the fight and everything, loved that. And he's like, I guess it wouldn't be that easy. So yeah, the only thing was there's this one little segment right here around the 8-minute 47-second mark. There was like one 5-second segment that I was like, it didn't really have much happen, but that's really tiny. I feel like they could have focused on them instead of the sky. But yeah, so then these two talk it out. I really like Wolfwood saying, if Vash knew Wolfwood was saying this, he would have been so proud, and Wolf would have been so embarrassed. But him being like, anyone can change whenever, wherever. Get Shakira in on this. But for Wolfwood to say this to Midvalley, for him trying to talk no jutsu Midvalley and incorporate what Vash was telling him to do, I'm like, Vash would be so proud of you, Wolfwood. Come on. Come on, Evolution. I love it. I love it. But also, we don't know. I mean, Wolfwood probably did not suspect that Vash and Luita were going to go. Well, he didn't know. He didn't know Vash and Luita were going to Emilio to find out how to stop him. He had no clue about that. So this was Wolfwood being genuine and trying to convince Midvalley not to throw away his life. Do we have a Midvalley and Wolfwood ship now? I support it more than the Midvalley Legato ship. So, okay. All right, let's go. Everybody's getting a harem in all this. So yeah, and then we go back to the pastor's contract. Nicholas D. Wolfwood. And then we have, what does it say? Villain-centered? That's really funny. But yeah, he takes the contract and walks out and sees Midvalley. You only can say that because you were able to leave. And then Wolfwood's like, well, you could technically leave too. You're just too scared. I love this shot from him in the pipe where Wolfwood's like, just rip up that weirdo score. I love that so much. I love it because he's like, just don't play the music that Knives wants you to play. You're a good musician. You don't have to follow him. Play the music you want to. And Midvalley just doesn't realize that he can. Again, I do appreciate the narrative about an abuser. And when you are abused, you believe you don't have choices with that abuser, but you absolutely do. And so Wolfwood's trying to reach in from the outside and go, hey, I was right there with you. You don't have to listen to Knives. You don't have to stay with him. Yeah, there's not a lot of other options, but if you really don't want to do this, you really don't have to. You can, given your abilities, there's a lot of options for you. But you won't because you've changed too. And I like Midvalley looks into the saxophone, but then he sees it transforms into Knives' face and it terrifies him. Which, yeah, Knives' blank, soulless expression is pretty haunting. It's pretty scary. The voice acting with Midvalley's voice actor was incredible. I thought he did such a good job in all this. He had to go from crying to screaming to being soft. Okay, so in this part here, he brings down this to flush out Wolfwood. And then as he's gearing up, Wolfwood was right behind him. He saw Wolfwood in the reflection of the sax, which is a great advantage of that weapon. You could see in the reflection, and he relies on it quite a bit, right? But then he brings it back around as he's firing. Again, Wolfwood could have fired at him. He could have fired right through him, but he didn't. He did not. And then he aimed at the ground, and it ricocheted and bounced him, popped him in the head. Again, Midvalley could have killed Wolfwood in that moment. Could have done it, but he didn't. Instead, he like bounced it off and blinded him because he like gave him a literal concussion in that moment. Also, the shot of the Punisher aiming up towards the moon, giving me lots of July feels, lots of July connections. Ugh, that sucks about his eyes. That sucks. Like his eyes just bloodshot. Yeah. He's like, you're not going to be able to see for a while. And he's like, well, you can't get me in that state. And then the fact that the feedback loop allowed Vash to stand right behind him. Oh! And whenever Vash looks serious, it's not like Knives. Knives looks soulless and cold and like he's going to eat you alive. Vash looks like he's like, do I have to hug you now? That was so good. I loved it. With the glasses and everything. Iconic. Iconic look. So I'm a little concerned that they've let Emilio out of his handcuffs. I worry Emilio will try to run off to go back to Knives. I do worry about that a wee bit, but maybe he won't. Maybe them being nice will have good karma and he'll end up helping them if Knives invades the ship. We'll see where that goes. I do love Luita where she's like, we'll take it into consideration. Girl is fierce. Love me some Luita. She was great in this. She was great. But yeah. And then all night, like Vash was immediately like, Vash does not hesitate to disarm you. He's pretty good at that. He's had 150 years of practice with that. And the moment that Midvalley figures out, Vash is already like, nope, 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 nope. Knocked it out. And I'm going to cut it off. Bye. Poor Midvalley. His instrument being broken is really sad. And when he grabbed the reed, I thought he was going to try to stab himself with the reed. And I was like, dude, don't do that. Don't hurt yourself. Because I felt like he was going to be desperate in that moment. But, and then when he's like, are you all right, Wolfwood? Like, Vash just runs past him and Wolfwood's like, oh, it took you so long, dumbass. You should have been here sooner. The ship, y'all, as Midvalley's like just having the worst day ever. Also, I like that you can't really see these black pipes. They blend into the background. So when he runs into the pipes, and Wolfwood is surprised that Emilio helped them out. And Vash is like, what'd I tell you? Being nice to people. And he's like, you really do change everyone. He does. He's a literal Care Bear. Vash is absolutely. Also, Wolfwood needs a new pack of damn cigarettes because every cigarette he owns is scraggly. Get that man a new pack. I like at least it's realistic. And that the cigarettes don't come out perfect every time, considering all he's been doing fighting everybody. He's like, never you mind. Yeah, and him just bumping into both poles is hilarious. These Chewbacca's. I love them to pieces. But yeah, poor Midvalley. I felt so bad for him. At least he gets in this moment the opportunity to be a little cathartic, but... So, speaking of which, Millie coming immediately up to Wolfwood and being like, are you fine, Undertaker? And he's like, I'm okay. And she's like, no, you're not. She's like, first aid, first thing. And he's like, it's no big deal. And she's like, oh, that won't do. Prompt care is important. As Midvalley's having a high freak out, crash out right in front of us. Look, we're going to talk about it in a hot second. But poor Midvalley. And he's like, nobody is going to kill anybody. Also, I don't like all the little black hairs sprigging up on Vash. I'll protect everyone, including you, Midvalley, because I'm freaking Jesus. And then Midvalley's like, what? Also, that look is so different than Knives. It is so different than Knives. It is just like insane how different they are. He's like, I promise. And Midvalley's just like, son of a bitch, I've been killing people all these years and nobody's offered to protect me or to be kind to me. And you're the first person to do it. And this is the first chance he's had to have a breather or a moment of relief. And it all just like floods out of him. It's so good. Poor Midvalley. Yeah, poor Midvalley. Bless his heart. I love Midvalley so much. I'm glad he's not dead. I'm glad he's not dead yet. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But yeah. He's like, protecting your enemy, you sure are soft. And Vash is like, well, of course. And I like Millie says, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. And he's like, there's nothing good about it. Honestly, here's the thing. Though it is kind of infectious. And she's like, And he's like, never mind. Wolfwood's like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want you all to know that I've been changed for good. I am 100% here for this entire foursome. Can we talk about it? They decide that they're going to protect the ship, as they should. Knives isn't, according to the Horn Freak, Knives isn't able to do much right now. Yeah, but that's going to change. Oh, and also him holding onto his little reed. Get him. Here's what the thing. That's why they want Needle Noggin. Here's the thing. I hope that they fix his saxophone and give it back to him, kind of like letting Emilio go and work on his puppetry so that they could possibly help them out in the battle against Knives. That would be great. Or at least the battle against Legato. And he's like, this is no joke. No, it's not. It is really not. We've established how serious Knives are. So 60% of the guns are operational. Maybe they can stop the nukes heading for them. So Knives is like, Vash is like, Knives is really dangerous, but Luita's like, no, we're going to try to do this. We're going to get everybody in the shelter. I hope Jessica gets down there. She does not need to be in any part of this, right? I'm okay with Meryl and Millie being part of it. And I like that. I love that Wolfwood gets on to Meryl and she's like, we're not nosy. This is our duty as journalists. And he's like, the four of them, very rarely in anime do I feel like there is a love square that just works. You can ship Vash and Meryl. I do. You can ship Vash and Wolfwood. I do. You can ship Vash and Millie. I'm not a big Vash and Millie fan, but do I want to ship Millie and Meryl? Yes. Do I want to ship Millie and Wolfwood? Yes. Do you want to ship Wolfwood and Meryl? But it's like a square. Like they're like the greatest anime foursome that you could just ship them with each other and it works. It works so well. I'm like, hell yes, it does. I love it. But she's like, I consider you people my friends. And when my friends are in trouble, I want to help them. And Vash is like, oh, me too. So yeah, these four, they're so compatible with each other in all directions. You can't go wrong. You can't bad ship this. It works on so many levels. I freaking love it. It's great. But yeah, and see, yeah, Millie's like, that's so cool of you, Meryl. Like, ship her with them. Absolutely. Yeah, it's adorable. So let's get Jessica out of here. Jessica being like, are we going to die? And Vash is like, no, I'm going to protect you. Maximum would tell us you shouldn't be saying such things because Maximum liked to torture Vash whenever he liked to say that. So I was like, But I do like setting this up where Vash is like, I'm going to protect you, girl. Don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. I do think you need a moment like that. And he's like, everything's going to be okay, Jessica. Like, give her some faith. Like, get her down the bunker. Secure this poor girl. She does not need to be out in the open. Knives will kill her. And he's like, I'm here to protect. Yeah, I do like the gloves with the fingers missing. That's pretty cool. Like that. Him grabbing a hold of the hand, the hair, makes me worried. Makes me worried a lot. It does indeed. I also enjoy Vash being like, I'm here to protect and to keep safe. And Knives is like, I'm here to destroy and make you have fear. So, speaking of Knives, Alindera's like, wow, Midvalley couldn't do anything. And Legato's like, well, he wasn't capable of pulling it off. She's like, oh, did you just send him there thinking something funny would happen? And he's like, the star always arrives last. The star, sir, do you need a sandwich? Your waist is teeny tiny. This twink thinking he's going to go in and stop Vash. Okay. Yeah, I thought when he said the star, Alindera clearly is thinking about Knives. But she's like, are you talking about yourself? And he's like, of course. And she's like, okay. I liked it. She kind of gives a little side eye there. She's like, okay, sure. You're the star, Legato. This part here, though, look, Alindera just wants to take the plants from ship 3 to bring Lord Knives back completely. And meanwhile, what did they say on there? Does it say like 98 something? Maybe he's like 98% back. They should have just had Midvalley go steal a plant instead of trying to get Vash. But I guess they need Vash to complete the gates or something or to sink it back in. However, damn, I talked last episode about how in Maximum, Midvalley and Legato are a ship for me. This is the main ship, though. Do I think Knives likes Legato? No. Is it all underquitted on Legato's part? Yes. Is it really fascinating and kind of disturbing? Yes. And I'm kind of here for it. But yeah, when he's like, soon. Legato is so crazy here. I love it. He's like just nuzzling up against this tube and Knives. We're going to talk about it here in a second. Yeah. And with your gaze. Oh, man. He's going to get pissed and destroy everything. He's not going to be happy. You all know that, right? What is, I like the doctor saying, are we really doing this? And Linda, her little feet kicking. She's like, it's a little late for now for that, doctor. Got to go through with it. Too late now. Turn back. Linda is having the time of her life. She's just enjoying this, being like, let's go. Legato's really looking forward to fighting Vash. Sure thing. And Linda is just having the time of her life. She's just here for the funds. Okay. I want to go back and talk a little bit about some spoilers. So if you're sticking around for that, hope y'all are ready. But anyway, if you are not sticking around for spoilers, that is okay. I hope you enjoyed my rambles and discussion on this episode. I really enjoyed this episode. This was great. But in the meantime, if you're not sticking around, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back real soon with more Trigun Stargaze. So, real quick, as we're getting started with the spoiler corner, I want to go back to Sunspot's comment about Knives being forced to relive the memories of the plants and how it's going to rebuild and affect his state of mind. Not great! No! And I kind of like this, though. We've talked about the concept of them changing it from Maximum, of him just... That was the one thing in Maximum that if you watched my reactions to the manga, which they're on my channel, one thing that kind of I was in the process of kind of being bugged about was when Knives was absorbing the plants to make himself stronger to fight the humans and Vash at the end, I was like, I get why he was doing it, but it kind of seemed counterintuitive to him trying to create this utopia for him and the plants. And in the end, it just made him look crazy. Like, but sir, you said you were creating this utopia for you and the plants, but you're absorbing the plants. So you're being kind of a hypocrite and you're using the plants. And we talked about it a lot in the manga. It made him kind of seem like a hypocrite. And it kind of went against what his purpose was as he told Vash. So then, of course, it justified Vash stopping him because he's like, well, you're just ruining things anyway. Here, I really like this because it kind of takes that control away from Knives. So it creates I think of Buster Bluth from Arrested Development with the hook hand, I'm a monster. But it makes it to where Knives did not have the choice of absorbing the plants. The doctor and the humans made him absorb the plants. So they used the plants as a tool to help Knives, which essentially makes Knives no better than the humans, which is going to freak him out. And so then Knives is going to have to try to justify it being like, well, if there are no plants left, I'll just absorb them all and I'll just be the utopia and all this. I enjoy that concept because it gives more validation in Knives' action like he does in Maximum. If that's the route we're going, it will give him more justification and reason for going crazy and doing that because it's going to tip him over the edge. I'm a bit worried for the doctor when Knives wakes up and realizes what they've done because I don't think the doctor wants to die. I don't think Alindra thinks she's in trouble. She thinks Knives is going to be all hunky-dory about it. We'll see. Now with Legato, in relation to Legato, I wanted to talk about him because I liked adding this backstory from Midvalley. I love it. I think it's great. It's my favorite sequence so far in the series. It's just so crazy. And it fits Knives to a T. It makes everything Midvalley does make sense. It's great. Knives looks so sinister there. God, it's so crazy to see how sinister Knives looks in that moment. And then you compare it to Vash at the end, who's like, Knives is smirking so evilly, and Vash has the most sweet, heartfelt smile on his face. It's crazy. But yeah. So, also Wolfwood versus... Look, I'm all here for Talk No Jutsu with Wolfwood and Midvalley because it's allowing us to see how much Wolfwood has changed, and I'm 1,000 times here for that. I think that is great. I love it. I'm a fan of it. I liked it. I thought the battle was thought out really smart. It wasn't just bloody battle, bullets. I mean, there's plenty of that, but there was a little bit of strategy on Midvalley's part, and I think it kind of extends past Maximum in a way that's really cool, but also pays homage to it. So I really liked it. Here's my thing, is that I like the idea of Midvalley and Emilio getting convinced to join Vash in his quest to stop Knives. I like it because in Maximum, essentially, all the gung-ho gang members just get killed, and then it literally is just Knives and the humans. It's Vash and the humans versus Knives and Alindira, and that's pretty much it. Along with Legato, which we'll talk about in a hot second. But here, I like the idea. It goes along with the theme of Vash reforming people through kindness and them joining the fight on their side after Vash kind of like shows them the light, so to speak, right? I like the concept of Knives shows them the darkness of oneself and Vash shows them the light of oneself, because they're two sides of a coin, Vash and Knives are, which is great. Love that. Also, that shot of Wolfwood's really good. I like the he's gonna need new glasses. He's gonna need new glasses because his are all broke now. What are we gonna do? And then we might as well talk about, yeah, like that expression there, totally different from Knives, like absolutely 100% different. And I love it. I love how Knives and Vash, both their expression, their determination, their entire like emotional expression is completely different from one another. Love that. But then we have Legato. Like the whole stuff with Wolfwood and Vash was adorable. Being such boyfriends. Stop it. Stop it. That was so cute. I'm glad Midvalley has his little read. Hope he gets his saxophone fixed. Although I don't know how he'll react when he does. He just needs some time to process. But yeah. But, oh, Midvalley, look at the bags under his eyes. He needs some sleep. Our poor boy needs some sleep. Bless his heart. So then there's Legato. Legato is, look, in Maximum, once you realize Legato's backstory and how he was, like, sexually abused, and then Knives, like, killed his abuser, and Legato kind of followed him after that, but Legato also wanted Knives to kind of kill him, and then Knives was like, no. There's a part of me that, like, whenever Legato says here, he says, soon, Lord Knives, your time to awaken will draw near, and then with your gaze, you will. It's like, I think Legato wants Knives to kill him, but he also wants him to, like, create all this destruction first, because Legato is kind of like, Legato and Knives have a similar mindset about humanity. They don't like humanity at all. They don't see the purpose of them living, so they both are kind of like sadists about it, which is kind of why they're fun to ship. But I think that Legato kind of wants Knives to kill him, and it's like, so we'll see how that works. We'll see how that works, right? I don't know. But anyway, so I'm really excited. That's all I got for spoiler corners. I don't know how this attack, I'm assuming that it's going to be stopped by the base. The base will have some means to stop the attack, but I don't know exactly how that's going to work. So this episode was fantastic. I freaking loved it. I am excited to hear your thoughts down below. I really like the idea of Knives as like the plant coming out of like this male body is kind of cool. This male presenting body. That's fun. Love that concept. Also love Wolfwood's motorcycle. Also this, like, the Wolfwood motorcycle is cool, but that concept art of the character right before it, like, that looks like Knives with all of the stuff coming out of him. That's crazy. Wild. I don't know. We'll just have to see. So, and anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this reaction discussion. I am curious to know your thoughts down below. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'm back very soon with more of Trigun Stargaze. Bye.